Welcome everyone to our social media highway, the last webinar in our Road to Success mini series, featuring the one and only Ashley Passo, Senior Marketing Specialist. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to support@rpag.com or give our support line a call. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ashley.
Hello. Thank you, Alexis. That was such a sweet intro. Why we are all here today is to talk about social media. So this is the last Road to Success mini-series session, and I'm so glad that you all decided to join me today. Thank you so much. So let's first go over our agenda. Why is social media important? That's going to be our first thing that we talk about. What is the point of you even coming to this session? Why are we here? Second, we're going to go over LinkedIn best practices. So this means your profiles, connections, etc. Third, what should you be posting to these social platforms? Our main focus today is going to be LinkedIn, just because it's more of a professional platform rather than a personal one. And then four, how to optimize personal and company branding. So this is going to be just some tips that you can have. Five, how to repurpose older content. The importance of social media. So let's start with a simple question. If your ideal client is on social media, but you're not actively engaging, how are they supposed to find you? Social media isn't just a nice to have, it's an essential tool at this point and for growing your business and building credibility in our industry. So here's why it matters. Let's go over my 7 tips that I have. One, it's a free way to expand your reach to participants, to plan sponsors, to other retirement advisors. And unlike traditional marketing methods that cost money, social media is completely free. You can get your name and expertise in front of these people, and you don't need a big advertising budget. However, you can advertise through it, but that's a completely separate topic that I'm not going to go over at this moment. But you just need to show up consistently, and it's completely free. Two, communicating with clients and prospects. So social media allows you to stay in touch with your network in a natural, ongoing way. Whether it's answering a comment, responding to a message, or sharing an update, you are building relationships every time that you engage. Three, posting helpful content that brings clients to you. So instead of chasing these leads, social media helps attract them. So when you post valuable insights, whether it's retirement planning tips, market updates, or client success stories, you position yourself as the go-to resource. And four, you're fostering trust with your clients and prospects. So trust is everything in this industry. I'm sure you know this by now. By regularly sharing your insights and engaging with your audience, you build familiarity and credibility. People are more likely to work with someone that they trust and they recognize. Five, constant interaction. This keeps you at the top of their mind. So people might not need your services today, but if they see your posts regularly and they decide one day, oh, I want to change my advisor or I need an advisor, you are going to be the first person they think of when they do. So social media keeps you in their orbit without being pushy. Six, networking and industry connections. It's not just about clients. Social media is also a powerful networking tool. That's what it was built for originally. And you can connect with other professionals, potential partners, industry leaders, record keepers, opening doors to new opportunities. And then seventh, this positions you as an expert. So think about the top advisors in our field. Many of them are visible on LinkedIn. They are sharing insights, they're engaging in discussions, and they're building their brands. So social media gives you that same opportunity to be just like them and establish yourself as an expert in the field. You can have followers, you expand your reach, you'll gain new prospects. So at the end of the day, social media is just another way to build relationships. The more value you provide, naturally, the more value that a client will see in you, and you'll attract the right people to your business. And the best part is it's completely within your control. So now that we understand why socials matter, let's talk about how to use it effectively. Starting with LinkedIn, we're going to talk about best practices. So you might think that LinkedIn's just another social platform, but it's not. This is your online storefront. It's not just a digital resume, it's a lot more. This is going to be your networking hub and one of the most powerful tools that you can use for building your credibility and prospecting. So today we're going to talk about how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile and use it effectively to connect with clients, prospects, industry peers. So your LinkedIn profile is often the first impression that someone will get of you. So it needs to be professional, engaging, and client focused. So use a professional, we're going to start with using a professional headshot. If you have a 10-year-old photo and you meet this client, they're gonna feel a little catfished. So I recommend having an up-to-date profile with a photo from within the last 3 years. Try to have it brightly lit with a clear photo of your face. And then if you have a good photo, there's a higher likelihood that someone will click into your profile. So next we're gonna talk about the clear and engaging headlines. So this is where most people will just put their job title, but you want to think about the value that you bring to the clients. So instead of just saying financial advisor or retirement plan advisor, you're going to try something similar to helping plan sponsors optimize retirement outcomes. And this is going to be bringing that value to the clients rather than just having your job title and looking like every other advisor that doesn't know these tips. And then third, you're going to fill out that about section with client-focused language. This is your chance to tell your story. Instead of listing job duties, I would focus on how you help clients, how you bring that value that you mentioned in your headline. Focus on your problem-solving skills and your other skills and certs that you have that help you be a better advisor. And then this is going to boost that credibility, and it's actually going to help LinkedIn's algorithm recommend you for the right opportunities and connections. Now, networking tips. You're going to be able to have a great profile, but you need to also connect with the people on LinkedIn. So you need to actively engage with others. So connecting with clients, your prospects, your peers. You don't wait for people to find you. While posting will bring them to you, you also want to be connecting with people on here. So you're going to be starting to reach out to key contacts in the industry or whatever contacts in other companies that you want for prospects. And you're also going to personalize those connection requests. So instead of just hitting connect, you're going to write a little short message because it always gives you the option to. And this increases that chance of them actually accepting your connection and building that meaningful relationship to hopefully create business later on. And then third, you're going to engage with those posts by commenting, sharing insights. The more you engage, the more visibility that you gain among potential clients. So say you comment on somebody's post, their entire network is going to see your comment. So they can go to your profile from there. So if they see that your headshot's up to date and they see that headline, they're going to say, oh, well, this is somebody I should connect with because I might need an advisor soon. This is a mock-up version of what my LinkedIn would look like if I were an advisor. I am not a retirement plan advisor, but if I were, this is what my LinkedIn profile would look like to attract more clients. So don't worry, I'm not switching careers. Marketing's still my thing, but I did want to show you how a well-crafted LinkedIn headline and about section can make a huge difference in positioning yourself as the go-to expert in your field. So first, let's break down this headline. Instead of just listing job title, I've crafted a headline that actually speaks to potential clients. So this first part, empowering businesses and employees to achieve financial wellness. This sounds way more engaging than just retirement plan advisor. And it tells prospects exactly what I hypothetically, if I were an advisor, help them with. And then second, retirement plan advisor, you do want that keyword in your headline still. So if somebody's looking up advisor, you'd still pop up. And fiduciary specialist. So these are keywords that make it clear what I would do, and plus fiduciary adds an extra layer of credibility. And moral of the story, your headline shouldn't just say what you do, it should make people want to work with you. Now let's move on to this about section. This is the mini sales pitch that you didn't know that you needed. If I were actually an advisor, my about section would read like this, and it would focus on the client and not me. So you're going to hook them early. Your first sentence should make plan sponsors say, hey, that's exactly what I need help with. That's crazy. So that's what we're going to talk about. As a dedicated retirement plan advisor, I specialize in helping businesses design, manage, and optimize their retirement plans to meet both organizational goals and employees' financial well-being. Most plan sponsors would say, great, I need help doing that. So instead of saying, I have 10 years of experience, say what those 10 years of experience has brought you. So use simple, clear to understand language. No one's searching LinkedIn for innovative solutions to optimize and streamline, So you want to make it clear what you do. Try to avoid industry jargon. And if it's done right, it can literally bring business to you. So no, I'm not an advisor, but if I were, this is what I would make my profile look like, and it would be working overtime to get me new clients. And yours can too. Just by tweaking your headline and about section, it can make a huge difference. So now that we've got your profile looking sharp, we're actually going to talk about how to use the LinkedIn search tools to find the right connections. There's a lot going on here. We're going to go over it. Many people think of LinkedIn as just a networking platform, and it is, but it's also one of the most powerful prospecting tools available to advisors. So if you know how to use LinkedIn search bar and filters effectively, you can find the right people to connect with, whether it's plan sponsors, HR leaders, or decision makers in your target market. So let's break down this LinkedIn search. So you've got your search bar at the top. This is where you can search the title that you're searching for. And you've got VP Human Resources. You can also look up benefit coordinator, or you can just look up HR, and sometimes people will put that as their main title on LinkedIn. So how I told you that you need to adjust your headline, most people don't. As you can see, this is her headline, VP Human Resources at Mark Wynn's Beauty Brands. Senior VP Human Resources, VP of Human Resources. They don't follow my tips because they're not watching this webinar, but you are, so you're going to fix those. However, this is helpful for you for searching for specific titles. Let's talk about these filters. So when you search VP of Human Resources, it'll give you different options. It'll give you company, people, places. So you'll first make sure it says people. And then it says this first, second, third. Your first connections means that you are connected to them. So if you're trying to find new prospects or connections, you don't want to do that because first isn't new. You want second or higher tier. Second connection means they are connected to one of your connections. You can kind of think about this kind of like cousins. You have your first cousin, your second cousin, your third cousins. And then, your once removed, it just keeps spreading out further and further from you. So you can start with your second connections and go through there. So you can see, one of my connections, I have mutual connections with all these people. And there's a difference between connect and follow. They are not the same thing. Connecting means that essentially you're friends with them. Sort of like friending somebody on Facebook. And then the difference would be and following someone on Instagram. Following can be helpful for you, especially if it's a cold lead and you've never spoken to them in your life. You can follow them and start interacting with them before you ever connect with them. So they see your name multiple times before you press connect, and that's going to give you that higher likelihood of them accepting your connection. And then obviously connect with anybody that you know. That's very helpful. It just builds your network. And then when you post things and they interact, then that goes to their network and everybody else sees it. It's a huge web. Oh, there's more filters at the top as well. You have, United States, they have all the countries. You can also do it by city. So if you are, say, in Cincinnati, you can specifically have it for Cincinnati. So start local and then branch out from there. You can also do current company. If there's somewhere you've been dying to go after, you can filter it from there. You can also just search a company up here and go from there as well. And then when you go through all the filters, there's more. You can do it by industry type. You can do it with the keywords in their title. So if you want specifically human resources in their title, you can do that as well. And that'll just help you narrow down this number, because sometimes if you search, you'll find hundreds of thousands of results. So you want to get this number down just so you can be more niche, and then you can grow from there. When you do decide that you want to connect with somebody on LinkedIn, it's really important to add a note to your invitation, especially if you're going to try to sell to them later. When you press connect, it'll give you this pop-up that says add a note to your invitation. instead of just pressing send without note, you will want to say a little message. You can say, it would just be, "Hi, Michelle. I see we have some mutual connections. In the retirement planning space, I would love to connect and share insights." Something easy like that. This is also another opportunity that you could use AI. Say, "I need to connect with this person at this company. Give me a good note to send them in my connection request," and they'll give it to you. So that's connecting. And just a hot tip, if they do accept, don't pitch to them immediately. Start with a conversation or even just start engaging with their posts and seeing if they're engaging with your posts. And then you can start trying to talk to them. But don't try to do the sales pitch immediately or they can disconnect with you. Okay, so these are all my real LinkedIn posts that show you different ways that you can engage with your audience. So notice how they fall into a few different categories. So we've first got educational content, and this is my AI session. So this post shares a webinar recording, or not a webinar recording, sorry, the summit recording. And this provides value to my network where I have people in the retirement planning industry, but I also have other marketing people in my network. So if they want to learn how to better utilize AI to, you know, automate some of their practices or their social media campaigns, and that's why I did that post. It was also, a little bit of a pat on the back. I wanted to show this accomplishment that I had of speaking at a conference. If you do host an event or you speak or you publish some article, you should be sharing it every time. But always add context, tell people why they should care and what they will gain from it. But you can also, do some personal storytelling as well. And this will usually kind of bring some personal insight, some relatable connections. This post has really nothing to do with work necessarily, but it did spark engagement because it was relatable. So it's important to share experiences, especially those that show leadership, decision making, or lessons learned. And it helps humanize you and make you more approachable. So not every post has to be about business. People connect with people, and that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I can give you for social media is you have to be a person. People are looking to you and they just want to know that you care. So it's important to show that you have a personality outside of work. I'm not saying that you should be posting your vacation photos on LinkedIn. I'm just, more of just the personal experiences is important. And also, I put a poll with this too, and that's great for engagement. I got 12 votes on this poll, and 6 likes and 3 comments. So I got more votes on the poll than I did likes. So clearly, people are more engaging. And if somebody votes on this poll, then that can bring it to their network as well. And then commenting on others' posts. So this post right here, if you've ever played the game Incoherent, it was a play on that, and you tried to guess the word. And I guessed it, and I got it right, and it was fun. And so I just try to do little things like that where I'm commenting on other people's posts to try to get my reach out, and you should be doing the same thing as well. And then industry conversations. This usually is a prompt that I'll get at the top of my notification, and it'll say, "You've been chosen to make a comment on this article." And if you ever get that prompt, I highly recommend filling them out because it will post to your network. It'll post to your connections feeds, and then it also shows that you know what you're talking about when you're commenting on LinkedIn articles. I highly recommend doing those. Key takeaways from all of these posts. What can we learn? We can learn that, you want to balance your professional and your personal content. So you're going to share that mix of industry insights, personal experiences, interactive posts, and I really encourage engagement with this. Use the polls, ask questions on your posts, comment on others, and respond to your comments that people leave on your posts to keep that engagement going. And then, engage with other people's. It's really easy to like things that come across your feed, and that's great. You also want to, interact with those posts as well. And then be authentic. People respond to real stories and genuine interactions. So the more relatable you are, the stronger your connections are going to be. All right. So, what should you be posting on LinkedIn? It's not about just being active, but you also need to share content that builds your trust, provides that value to your connections and your network, and positions you as that expert because you want people to think that you know what you're talking about. So, what should you be posting? Let's break it down into two key categories. We have educational and personal content. If you ever are questioning kind of what you should be posting and you don't even know where to start, this is a good tip, but also we have our social media calendar if you're a premium marketing member, and we pre-create posts for you in the social media calendar. So if you ever just want to get started and you're not sure where, you can always grab the post from the social media calendar, and that's very helpful. The key to a strong social presence, though, is variety. Because if you're posting the same thing every single day, it gets very monotonous and boring. So you want to educate your audience while also making some personal connections. And here's a few types that work well for advisors. You have your educational posts about retirement planning and financial wellness. And then this is going to establish your credibility and provide that value. And client success stories. So if you have permission, you can share, you can tag them. However, if not, I would make it anonymous. And you can showcase your impact and help prospects see what's possible with your guidance. And next is the industry updates and how they affect clients. So you want to keep them informed about changes maybe with ERISA or any other retirement planning industry changes that are going to affect their plans. And if you're posting these as well, this is where you can kind of put in that buy ask. So that frequency for balancing between promotional and value-driven content. When you're putting client success stories or when you do industry updates, at the bottom you can say, are you interested in, do you want to discuss how this is going to affect your retirement plans? Reach out to me. And that's when you can put in that buy ask. Personal insights or lessons learned in your career. This could be, the why behind what you do. And this mix is going to ensure that you have engaging, informative, and relatable content. For these examples for educational, you have your 5 steps to maximizing retirement in 2024, or industry insights. What's the latest market trends mean for your retirement plan? That's when you can say, are you interested in finding out for your specific plan what this means? Reach out to me at, and put in your email. And then financial literacy topics, how to read and understand your 401k statements. This is great for plan sponsors to see because they can repost that to their audience and hopefully they're connected with other people in their company that are participants. So this is bringing them valuable content that they can then share to their own network. For personal, sharing your journey is very good for being relatable to your audience. So people want to work with advisors they know, like, and trust. So starting with, sharing your journey, talk about why you became an advisor and what motivates you to do your job every day. You're going to highlight those client success stories, with permission. Say, helping this client reduce plan fees by 20% was so rewarding. This is how I did it. I used steps X, Y, Z. And that's where you can, put in some of those salesy pitches. And then celebrate milestones. You can do those, I've been working with so-and-so for 10 years now at this firm. Or, if you branched out on your own as an advisor, you can say, I've been, running my own firm for X amount of years now. I'd like to thank X, Y, and Z and tag them. Tagging, I want to emphasize that tagging people on LinkedIn is a huge way to expand that reach because when you tag them, it brings it to their network. And then if somebody from their network likes it, then that brings it to that person's network and it just keeps spreading. And it's great. Okay. And then a common question I get is how often should I be posting? Ideally, you want to post 3 to 4 times a week, but it's all about being consistent. So if you're only posting 2 times a week, make sure that you are always posting 2 times a week every week. If it's more, great. But you want to make sure that you are doing at least the amount that you have. And let's move on to optimizing your branding. So if you are in charge of your company's LinkedIn page, or even for your own LinkedIn personal page, one, you want to be consistent. This is going to be the key to building that recognizable and trustworthy brand. So from your visuals to your messaging, every touch point should feel like it's coming from the same person or company. And a tip for this, use the same profile picture and banner across LinkedIn's and other platforms for like a company. If you're doing this for your personal brand, obviously you don't need to do the same profile picture because this necessarily isn't necessarily a professional if you're, on Facebook or on Instagram. But for your LinkedIn, if you are a company, use the same profile picture across all your platforms. And then you're going to post regularly for this consistency. Like I said, if you're only posting twice a week, you're starting, you're doing something, and that's great. And I commend you. Just be consistent with that 2 times a week because you don't want to be, posting educational content once a month or, once a week for a month and then you just disappear. That's your audience might just forget about you. So instead of doing that, it'd be really good just to schedule posts out in advance to just stay visible and keep at the top of their mind. And then 2, find your voice. So your brand voice is the personality behind your content. So this should resonate with your audience and make them feel like they're connecting with a real person and not just a business. A tip for this is to speak directly to your audience's challenges. So instead of saying, our services are tailored to plan sponsors, say, we help plan sponsors simplify retirement planning for their employees. So you're saying the value you bring and not just, this is what we can do. You're saying, this is what we will do for you. See kind of the difference in the tone? And then you're going to avoid that jargon unless your audience is highly technical. And then simplify those complex ideas to make your insights accessible to more people. So if that plan sponsor sees something that you post and they repost it to their audience, if you're putting in a bunch of jargon that they might understand, but their participants won't, then that's not going to be very helpful. So 3, leveraging client success. If you have permission, that would be great to tag them. However, if not, then you can do some anonymized case studies. That'd be great too. Post those testimonials with permission if you have it. You can use direct quotes that you've gotten maybe in an email for authenticity, and you can use some before and after scenarios. So you can say, like, for example, one of my clients, a manufacturing company, reduced plan fees by 15% after we conducted a benchmarking analysis. Not only did it save them money, but it also increased employee participation in the plan. So sharing stories like these helps others see the value of what you do. And then 4, engage and build relationships. So social media isn't just a broadcasting tool. So this is a way for you to connect, start conversations, and build those lasting relationships. So every time somebody comments on one of your posts, reply to that comment. And comment on other people's posts that they do to expand that visibility so people just see your name. And then they can show interest into your work. And then use those polls and those questions like I had on my posts to get more engagement on your network. Okay, let's talk about how to repurpose content. So content creating takes a lot of time. If you're writing articles, I write articles and I know that it takes a decent amount of time, especially if you're doing something technical. It's a lot of research, it's a lot of writing and then editing, and then you got to figure out when you're going to post it. It's a lot of work. So you don't want to let a great post or an article be a one and done. You want to be able to reuse this. So the key to an effective social strategy is going to be taking one piece of content and repurposing it and using it in multiple ways to extend its reach and its impact. Because if this is some important topic like benchmarking and you want to share that with your network and you want to make sure that even new people in your network understand that benchmarking is important, then you're going to want to share that multiple times in different ways. So the caveat here is not all content should be repurposed. Obviously, the best content to use is evergreen content, meaning that it's not dated. It's going to be relevant for a long time. So here's what to look for. So we're going to avoid that dated content. So if an article references a specific year or outdated regulations, it's not going to be reusable. Unless you pull those out and use pieces around it, I would just be careful when doing that. And then ensure that it's still relevant. So the information should be valuable for your audience today. So if it's an article about COVID, I don't think it's going to be as valuable today as it was, in 2020, 2021. Keep it digestible. So short, clear insights work best for repurposing across different formats. So, if you have that article saying how to benchmark plan fees, that's an evergreen topic. So it's something plan sponsors are always going to need to understand and making that perfect for repurposing. And then where can you disperse? So You can ask ChatGPT to, create 10 social posts from one article, and it can be long form or short form posts. You can have it create emails for you as well to encourage those meetings. And then if it's an article, you can easily turn it into an infographic or a flyer from Canva. So if you go to a meeting and you say, hey, I have some information for you about benchmarking, here's a flyer. You can make that in Canva. They have free profiles that you can create, and it's really easy, very user friendly. So if you've never done any graphic design before, don't worry, it's really easy and you can use a lot of templates that they have. So an example of repurposing, let's go through this example. This is an article from our Retirement Times that went out in October. I just picked one that's pretty evergreen. You want to protect benefit plans from cybersecurity threats. Cybersecurity is always going to be an issue. Everybody is online now, so it's just a good evergreen piece of content. So you're going to enter this prompt. You're going to use AI first to generate these multiple formats. Okay, you can use ChatGPT, you can use other types of AI like Gemini, or even I think there's a few other ones on the platforms that you can find. But I use ChatGPT personally. You can quickly help transform this long form article into different kinds of media. So you can enter a simple prompt like this. So I'm a retirement advisor and I need to repurpose this article to increase my brand awareness to my prospects and clients. Create 3 short form social media posts and 3 long form posts and 2 drip emails that I can send. So then you're going to copy and paste that article. If you have the premium version of ChatGPT, you can put in the link, but if you don't, then it can't scan websites. So just to give you a heads up. And then you're going to read what it gives you and you're going to edit that reply because usually it's not going to sound exactly like you unless you've been training your AI for a while. So if you write an article, you can put it in and say, this is what I sound like. I need you to write content that sounds like this. And that'll be helping it find your brand voice. But you're still going to want to look at it, edit it, make sure everything's correct. And then you're going to start scheduling out those posts, okay? This is where I'm going to teach you how to schedule. I know that one of the biggest challenges for socials is being consistent, and you need to post regularly and be consistent, but finding the time every day can be really hard. I understand you're very busy. I even appreciate that you're here today. But the good news is for scheduling content is that if you just set aside an hour every week, a couple of hours, one day a week, you can schedule all your posts in advance. So you don't even have to think about it until the next week. Start by going to your LinkedIn homepage. This is just when you go to the top, you'll see this home button. You'll click start a post. This is at the very top, and this will pop up. And you're going to type in, this is where you draft your content, whether you want to do an article, that poll like I talked about. You can see these little icons at the bottom. You can put an image, an event invite, a job posting. You can also add in a PDF, which they're called carousel posts. And that is where you can also upload PowerPoint presentations if you'd like. Say you have something on benchmarking, you can take that post, you can take that PowerPoint, export it to a PDF, and upload it as a carousel post, and your network will be able to see it. It's great to do that. You can actually see that we just posted a carousel on RPAG's LinkedIn. So if you go to our LinkedIn right now, you'll be able to see that on our page if you just wanted to see an example of what it could look like. So you'll put your example of your social media post. So instead of clicking post right away, these buttons are very close to each other, so just careful. You'll click this little tiny clock button. And it looks just like that, and that says schedule for later. So then you will click that scheduling tool button, and it'll open up your schedule menu. This is where you're going to pick your date and your time. So you'll click, February, say I wanted to post this February 14th, next Friday. I'd click that, and then I'd select what time I wanted to post it at. And then you'll click next. So this is going to allow you to space out that content throughout the week. And if you need to go back and edit it, it does allow you to do that. You can say, when you start a post, you can say view scheduled posts. When you press next, then at the bottom, this post button will turn into a schedule button. And then you'll press schedule and it'll schedule it out. So that's a great tool that you can use to not have to be so consistent every day and just have it be set aside that couple of hours a week. You can even do it, on a Sunday when you're just in bed and you can just type up stuff and post it out like that. Recommend having LinkedIn on your phone, not just on your laptop. That is all the content that I have for you today. I want to thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions after this, please feel free to reach out to support, and we will be happy to help you. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.